space, We were craving just wanted to include the word indigenous people. But throughout the struggle, throughout the hard effort of our indigenous elders, our leaders, our sisters, brothers across the world, finally, with the adoption of the Paris agreements by COP21 in 2015 in Paris, and opened the floor of establishment of facility working group of local communities and indigenous people platform, and especially with the three function: the knowledge, capacity building, and climate change policy and action. And here, the knowledge is being really prioritized by the constituent bodies of the UNCCC, that is Local Communities and Indigenous Peoples Platform, and that become a window of opportunities for many indigenous scholars, writers, researchers, leaders, that to bring knowledge as a hope for bringing climate adaptation and mitigations. And the state parties are eager to hear what is the stories of indigenous peoples, why knowledge is important, why building capacity of indigenous people, but also state parties is important to bring indigenous friendly climate actions, policy and action on the ground, and that has been opening of global discourse along with the IPCC, Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. The sixth assessment report come to the fact that indigenous knowledge is basis for forest adaptation, climate adaptation and mitigation, including ICBES, the report of the important role and contribution of indigenous peoples, women, local communities for, sustainable of the biodiversity. And that has been a really backgrounds of bringing discourse in the academic circle. As I said, I have been teaching in the university, I think almost 2 decades now. I have been teaching actually throughout my life after finishing my school and college and university and PhD, but I kept on teaching in the school, college and university at the moment, And when I was a co-chair of the Local Communities and Indigenous People Platform of the UNFCCC for the first time, I got the opportunity of bringing indigenous curricula as a discourse of climate, adaptation mitigations as one of the function of the LC knowledge, and I got the opportunity of bringing all the indigenous professors, scholars, researchers in the discourse of indigenous curricula, why it is important, why we need to enhance. And that has been another window of opportunity for many universities to develop our indigenous course, including Kathmandu University in the School of Education in Kathmandu, where I have been teaching almost, many years, come up with a discourse of the importance of indigenous study. So that's why in last year we started a master's program on the indigenous education and development course. We call the MID, Master Indigenous Education and Development course, and that discourse for the first time I could experience when we start teaching, developing our curriculum from intercultural perspective, understanding the dynamics of the importance of the cultural aspects through our education, connecting our roots. We can see even the full of tears among the students, how important to connect our, roots, knowledge system. And that has been really, really kind of, undershadow in the modern approach of education. And me, most of us, we are brought up in the Western worlds, and that has shielded our perspective to discuss and connect our roots, and that one. And the first time separate, where I work as a director at the moment, and also we connect with a different university in Nepal and also around the world on establishing, enhancing, promoting, coming as tools for our research, indigenous-led research. And the basis of indigenous-led research is a intercultural perspective to bring our voice, our stories from our own grounds, not having this kind of different theoretical lens developed by Western worldview that do not connect our roots. And we try to dig out what is right, what is wrong, and why it is necessary to connect our values and our spiritual connection, social, cultural dynamics, so that we are here to change some in our community. Rather, we are in dilemma of either fit in the Western worldviews or in our indigenous worldview if we do not develop that lenses, And we started Indigenous-led research conference in Nepal in 2023. We also had an international Indigenous-led conference 2024, and FIMI is one of our supporters, and we are really thankful for FIMI in solidarity for bringing this, very important dynamics in the discourse of research. Now and later, it started also Indonesia, and upcoming conference is going to be in Kenya, and and this has really reshaped our perspective. Like, for example, if you really want to do a research on indigenous peoples' traditional livelihoods as a shifting cultivation, doing the research shifting cultivation from indigenous worldviews, not from the indigenous worldviews, is a really, really different. Like, for example, we indigenous people, when we do our research, our traditional livelihoods as a shifting cultivation, we see the cultural, social, spiritual connection along with our farming patterns, the traditional livelihoods. But for the non-indigenous people, not shaped from the indigenous worldview, for them, like our traditional livelihoods as a shifting cultivation is just a slash and burn. They think like, we emit the emission and cause of the pollution for the climate. But in fact, the different research, including AIPP, shows that if we have the fallow period more than 10 years, then actually shifting cultivation enhance the carbon stock higher than the mature forest. But this kind of dynamics hardly seen in the Western research method. So that is one of the reasons also intercultural dynamics of research is so important to revive, to continue to maintain our, our indigenous knowledge, value system, and connect our roots and giving the continuity by our young generation. And then also, as you said, because our children, our young leaders, even among ourselves also, in our earlier days, when these Western worldviews are reshaped in indigenous communities, then we put like a trap, like a pendulum, because we are neither fit in the indigenous worldviews nor in the Western worldview. So we become like a pendulum, like a trap, So frustrations, connecting our roots is there, and we could see among the youth. And so that's why every day, when you go to the community, the dream of our children becoming like going to the city or the abroad. But we hardly hear our young children coming to the roots and doing our social cultural values. So that's why this is also very important that intercultural research methodology need to be enhanced through our research, academic and non-academic discourse. And that would help our children to live with a respect and dignity and connect our roots with our, cultural, social, and spiritual values, And that is the hope for sustainability. Otherwise, in the name of sustainable, goals, we invite further unsustainable and unknown future. And therefore, bringing paradigm shift in research methodology is must necessary for understanding our communities, building level of responsibility to secure and management of our customary land tenure rights with self-determination for the well-being of our communities. And finally, intercultural research as political act and transformation for our rights are the foundation for securing our rights to live with the respect and dignity in our own landscape, and protection of our knowledge, cultural values, indigenous food and economy for our sustainable future. And I wish all the best for our sisters for 6 months. And wish you all the best for your, come up with these lenses of intercultural perspectives and become a leader of the world to bring the paradigm shift in the research, education, and development for our respect and dignity and self-determination, who we are to live. Thank you so much. Gracias.
Muchísimas gracias a usted, Pasan, por estar aquí, compartir sus palabras sobre la importancia de estos espacios que se generan para las mujeres indígenas. Estos espacios que nos permiten reconocer el rol y liderazgo de las mujeres indígenas en los distintos espacios y que nos permite romper paradigmas, ¿no? Nos ubican a las mujeres indígenas en otro nivel, en otros espacios. Gracias por compartir también sobre ese reconocimiento de lo que hemos ido ganando, de los caminos que se han ido abriendo a nivel internacional y el reconocimiento que hemos ganado. Gracias por mencionar el trabajo generacional, también muy importante. Gracias. Y con esas reflexiones de Pasan, quiero dar paso a Balki. Balki a ver si puede proyectar el perfil de Balki. Balki es de Camerún, es fundadora del Indigenous People in Sustainable Association, perdón por mi inglés, y es representante africana en el Fondo Verde para el Clima. Cuenta con 15 años de experiencia en el tema de cambio climático, derechos de las mujeres y tierra. Ha representado a África en foros internacionales. Es máster en desarrollo sostenible y va a ser facilitadora del diplomado en investigación intercultural este año. Va a ser tutora, así que muy contenta de tenerte aquí, Balki. Tomando en cuenta esto que nos compartía Pasan, todo esto reconocimientos, importancia de lo que implica la investigación intercultural para el trabajo de las mujeres indígenas, de las organizaciones, de los territorios. Balki, te queremos pedir que nos compartas un poco desde tu experiencia y tu trabajo. ¿Cuáles consideras tú que han sido los principales avances y desafíos en este proceso de generación de información desde los propios pueblos
What do you
indígenas?
consider that have been the
Adelante,
challenges
Balki.
from the indigenous communities?
Thank you very much for giving me the floor. Hope you can hear me. Okay, thank you very much for giving me the floor. I am Balki Sububa, as Nadia earlier said, from the Bororo Pastoralist Community of Cameroon. I work for the Indigenous People and Sustainable Development Network Association, as well as the Network of Indigenous People and Local Communities for Sustainable Management of Forest Ecosystems in Central Africa. So talking about the course is really a very interesting course. I'm very happy to be one of the tutors of this course. I was equally a facilitator on the first edition of the course. And it was an amazing journey. I'm also very happy to see the young ladies across different generations who will be participating in the course. It's very interesting. I'm so happy seeing most of my younger sisters who are in the course, because this will really help us in terms of continuity of the work that has been carried on so far by other people. We have at least sustainability and continuity in the works. So talking about this intercultural research is one of really, I'm really passionate about intercultural research. I like research that concerns our cultures, our traditions, our customs, our way of life. As my sister Hassan said, people have really taken indigenous people to be like objects of study for a very long time. Most people want to get into the indigenous people to study them. They are like looking at the indigenous people they have wrong perspectives about indigenous people. So that's why many of them come to carry out research about indigenous cultures, indigenous traditions, and so on, to see what indigenous people look like. And most often, at the end of the day, some of them have very misleading literature about indigenous people. They have misleading information that really does not contribute to advance our knowledge, our ideas, our systems, and does not really represent us out there. So I'm really happy with the progress that has been made so far. As you see, there are many universities, as Pasang said, they have been teaching, connecting with different universities, exposing the knowledge and cultures of indigenous people worldwide. We see like the great work that FIMI is doing to teach now the diploma course, working with indigenous women so that they should be able to tell their story. They should be able to do the investigation themselves. They should be able to carry out research in their own communities. They should be the ones to tell the story. It's very important when we tell our story rather than somebody telling our story for us. When we tell our story, it's different. So for many years, intellectuals have been telling our story from their own intellectual perspective. But when we tell our story, it makes a great difference. And looking at the intercultural research, we know that in the indigenous communities, everything about us is our tradition, our knowledge, our cultures, our customs, our way of life, our governance systems. Everything is central to us. And everything rotates about our identity, our culture, and our traditional knowledge. And everything we use there is done through indigenous knowledge. Some of the challenges we have with this is that most of our cultures are really oral. If you look at the indigenous communities, we deal a lot with orality. We don't have things that are written down. So when we are dealing with orality, when the people who are the knowledge holders, they die, at the end of the day, we lose that knowledge. That is why the death of an elder in an indigenous community is like the burning of a library, because we know that the knowledge holders, they have the knowledge, and we have a system of passing this knowledge from one generation to other. We use the oral methods of passing this information. And when the elders or the knowledge holders are not there, there is discontinuity and we might lose that knowledge. And once we lose that knowledge, we start losing our identity. We start losing our way of life. We start losing a lot of things in our indigenous community. We know that in terms of traditional medicines, indigenous people are very strong in that. In terms of environmental protection, everything we use is centered around indigenous knowledge. And once that knowledge is not documented, it's another problem, because everything is oral. So that orality for a very long time has created some gaps. But now we are seeing that we are trying to fill the gaps by trying to carry out the research. We are trying to document and keep for the use of our current and future generations. Another difficulty we have with the knowledge holders in communities when it comes to intercultural research, some people are hesitant to share knowledge. So people don't really want to share the indigenous knowledge because they have so many fears. Fears in the sense that the knowledge might be misappropriated. They fear that the knowledge can be misrepresented. They fear that the knowledge can be misused, because that is the greatest fear of indigenous people, especially women. They don't want their knowledge out there to be misused. They don't want knowledge out there to be misrepresented, and they don't want knowledge that can be misunderstood. Because most people, at the end of the day, when you look at it, where it's something that is written, when people have something that is written, they read. But if 5 people read something, those 5 people might interpret the 5 things in 5 different ways. As they said, knowledge is relative, it's not absolute. So the interpretation people give to the knowledge makes some people don't even want to share the knowledge. They prefer to keep the knowledge to themselves. And there are some certain aspects of knowledge that the indigenous people, they don't even want to share, even with their own indigenous children or communities. Like you see, especially knowledge that deals with spiritual knowledge. Something that deals with the spiritual. The physical, they are ready to share, but something that deals with the spiritual, it has so many conditions to keep that knowledge, to guide that knowledge, and to use that knowledge. So sharing spiritual knowledge is a big difficulty for many of the indigenous communities. For example, I have been working with the Mororo communities on indigenous knowledge and trying to see if we can document some of the good practices and so on. Many of them are willing to share physical knowledge, but majority are not willing to share spiritual knowledge, because I tell you, spiritual knowledge comes with conditions. It comes with a heavy responsibility. So that's why even researchers come from outside to come and research on spiritual knowledge in the indigenous community, like the Bororo community. It would be really difficult to have that knowledge, especially if they want to document it. Another issue with intercultural research that is really making people hesitant to share knowledge is around issues of protection. We need our knowledge to be protected, because if the knowledge is not protected, the knowledge is out there, anybody can just use the knowledge it means we are gradually losing our identity as indigenous people, because anybody can do the rituals that we used to do. Anybody can go into the environment, communicate with nature the way we used to communicate with nature. It becomes a big struggle. It becomes a problem. So those kind of approaches, it gives people different kind of views and so on. Then more to that, if you look at the issue of replication in intercultural research, replicating it is a bit kind of complicated, especially when it comes to like in relation to these human rights mechanisms. If you look at the human rights mechanisms we have and intercultural knowledge and research, if you want to integrate human rights mechanisms like the standard human rights mechanisms, you kind of see a bit of fracture, because human rights mechanisms, they have their standard mechanisms, the way they are functioning, the way they protect, the way human rights are being protected. But in the indigenous communities, we find it in a different manner. Indigenous communities' rights are all about the collectivity, all about the community, all about being together, all about everything that is togetherness, spirituality, oneness, and so on. So it's something that most human rights mechanisms are trying to integrate, but they don't really kind of understand how it really functions. So those are some of the challenges that we have been facing. Because the women, especially young girls, for some time have not been really doing like the intercultural research themselves, because in the indigenous community, most of women, especially women and girls, have not been to school. Access to education is another problem. So making intercultural research kind of difficult by the indigenous people themselves. That's why you see that most of the literature that has been written formally was always written by educated people from academic standards, academic canons, and so on. But with intercultural research now being carried out by our own people, our own sisters, they will be able to research the knowledge, and things will be okay, because first, they will be researching in their communities where they are known. For example, if somebody is going back to his or her community to go and carry out intercultural research, the people will feel more comfortable talking to the person, sharing the knowledge, using the language, because another thing is the challenge of language. People cannot come to the community when they cannot understand the language of the community, and they want to like carry out research, they want to get knowledge and so on. Is difficult. But when it is someone from the community coming to carry out research, it kind of helps in advancing research, and it's another way of passing knowledge to the younger generation. Because if they come, the people who also learn, as they're coming to carry out research, they are also coming to learn from the culture, from the traditions, from the knowledge holders, what they did not know. As they are documenting, they are also learning new things. They are also carrying the knowledge forward, because indigenous women are so good in transmitting knowledge to the younger generation. They are good in preserving that knowledge for current and for future use. So as the youths are coming, they are working with them, they are learning. At the end of the day, they are the ones to continue carrying our knowledge forward. They are going to continue carrying the research forward, making good use of the research to solve so many problems. Because as we carry out research, intercultural research, we come out with action plans. We come out with different, we identify different problems in the communities, and we propose solutions that are culturally appropriate to solve those difficulties in our community. We are happy that progress is being made, especially like my sister Pasang said, the LCP is there that has been created in the context of climate change, that we have traditional knowledge that is integrated. The world is fast getting used to the idea that indigenous knowledge is really key to everything they do in terms of climate solutions, fight against biodiversity loss and so on. We see that indigenous knowledge is key, and we hope that this research will really take all of us to the next level. It's also a learning experience for both of us as we are mentoring the students. We are also learning. It's an exciting journey, learning from different cultures, learning from different regions of the world, and so on. So thank you very much, Nadia. It's really a pleasure being with all of you. And I look forward to a very exciting experience with all the learners.
Thank you very much, Valki. Thank you, specifically knowing how the knowledge is there in the heart of our communities and how these are protected and are cared for with a lot of responsibility. How to protect our knowledge so they can be potentially the responsibility of carrying. I'm sorry, we have some technical problems, so the other interpreter cannot come in. I will thank Valki for coming. As I was saying, Valki has a very important point of view in how researching interculturally is so important. And we are going to go into the next table with Alicia Lemus, who's going to talk about what it implies for you as a researcher. You place yourself within your community and outside your community, from outside the perspective. Me as a researcher and us as a community. What is the link that gets created with the community? What are the ethics we must have as researchers? The listening as a tool, not only as a methodology, but also as a transformation, a political and respect and recognition, and the responsibility that we must have in how we use the information. So what's the role, what's the place that the researcher should take regarding the topic that he or she is developing? So welcome, Doctor. And Alicia Lemus is a doctor in social anthropology. She has a master's and bachelor's degree in history. She is currently a professor and researcher at the National Pedagogical University of Morelia and is part of the National System of Researchers of Mexico. Her research focuses on intercultural education, Purépecha, culture, gender, and equity among Indigenous women. Welcome. First of all, my name is Alicia Lemos Jimenez. It's a pleasure to be with you here today so we can share my experience in the academic world. And thank you for the invitation. These are questions that are very difficult to answer. From my perspective, access to education for Indigenous women in Latin America is a complex topic. We must go deep into the fact that Indigenous women there's very few that are able to access academic education and even less research and teaching. And recognizing these differences, knowing that in Latin American worlds, some women are going into important roles in the academic world. This means that there is a great commitment for us that are already here to open the path for many others to be able to have the opportunities than those that are here already. That has to do with rights, access to education, and producing knowledge must be a human right for all of us and for Indigenous people as well. In Mexico, it's a little complex because if we did some statistics on how many Indigenous people, men and women, become researchers, it is a very, very small number. So if we speak about by gender, women specifically is even less. So this is very complex. If we're talking about that for us, the Indigenous women that are already in these scenarios, we have the commitment to have a political and ideological posture in the academic world. From there, what kind of research are we doing? Who are our texts focused to? Geared for? What is the link that we must have with our communities? From where are we writing? Who are we writing for? When I start working on these topics, I realize that we must keep a collective posture even in the generating of knowledge, because Occidental science there's marked by such individuality and theoretical and methodology postures that call themselves universal. From our Indigenous perspectives, start doing research, we realize that there is a plurality in the epistemic world, not only in dichotomy between Indigenous and Western. Within the Indigenous peoples, there are a big diversity in the epistemology posture. Each community has its own characteristics and how historically the knowledge has been generated. And from there, we must recognize the interculturalness, these multiple ways of understanding and interpreting the world. It is complex in my case because in this coming and going as a researcher, I am originally from Michoacan. I have to leave my community to be able to do this intellectual work. Nonetheless, my community wants me to be participating politically and communally, and to take a decision to live in these different contexts is very complex because it means time, money, effort, and be able to comply with the different scenarios. And we have to make decisions. I have to take decisions what kind of lifestyle I want to live. And I decided to stay in my community and from there start working intellectually and academically. This is what I'm taking as my experience to be able to question the ethics of research. What are the moral values that sustain our research? What am I talking about? Why do we choose the topics that we are going into? So something that has been working for me is to put into practice collective values of my culture in research more than by the ethics of the Western knowledge. And I know them because I was formed in these types of programs in universities. I take my community values into how I generate knowledge. We do research as a retribution to culture. In my case, in my original community, I belong to Purepecha. We live collectively, community. What other communities is Manuel, it's Tequio, Faina. These values this is communal work. I take these values into my research as well. And this perspective changes completely the objective of my research. We don't do research for one sector of the population. These different types of research with these values, collective values, have another outreach for sure. So we can realize that those of us that do the research are not the generators of knowledge, but we're just simply the ones that diffuse or systematize the knowledge that is in the collective memory from many generations back. And this has allowed me to see that the collective knowledge is very practical and is up to date always, because it is a knowledge that has been transmitted from generation to generation through oral tradition, through these documents that are very, very zealously guarded by this knowledge. How necessary is it? When we start questioning ourselves, we realize that at least in the indigenous communities that have oral tradition in their maternal language, in this case Purepecha, it has been a lot more functional, because these are knowledge that are up to date, that have been getting feedback onward by being able to put the essential values of our culture, Harikwa, Kashubikwa, Hanikperakwa. These are local language ways of expressing very important values in the generation of knowledge in different perspectives. We had the fortune, we could say, to be able to go out of the community and study, but also the community called us back. In my case, or in the case of Purepecha culture, we are constantly have to be engaged with the community, because also our role has to be for the collective benefit. To the culture I belong to, we were educated since very young to go back to the community and help through this system, the value system, to strengthen the community. So this means that we have to go back and take the collective roles, the community roles, to be able to keep the collective organization that is very, very tied to the territory. That the defense of the territory is not an ideology; it's a way of living. That you see it in the everyday work. That as professionals, indigenous knowledge generators, we must contribute to this as well. Academics, in my case, have been used to make visible the different problems that we're living in the indigenous communities. Gender inequality, multiple violence through which the indigenous people face, the territory being taken away. And these are the types of things that we're living in our community. And it has made me it has made me question, who am I producing this knowledge for? Who am I writing to? And in this sense, I have realized that the possession of the land is one of the topics. I can see that there's hybrid creation of the knowledge. I have been formed in the public schooling system, which is where I was formed, but we also have the indigenous knowledge, and by bringing these different knowledges together will allow us to create these texts with a very, very different focus. In some events with indigenous colleagues that are also in the academic world, we can realize that each community in Mexico has their own different strategies to keep the knowledge. And this means that modern knowledge, indigenous knowledge, is practical, adaptable. If we talk about the methods, the methodologies, which are these ones we use to create knowledge? And of course, these are very ample. And one of these is orality, oral tradition, how we've been transmitting our knowledge, and there's specific paths, different spaces for this transmission. If we want to talk about climate change, we want to talk about human rights, if we want to talk about gender roles, if we want to talk about cultural aspects, there are specific places in which this knowledge is transmitted. There's a collective pedagogy that where this knowledge, this ancestral knowledge, is transmitted from generation to generation. This has made that indigenous communities are still surviving, and the ethnic identity, the indigenous identity, is still up to date. I think this should be a political space for all of the indigenous women that are in this space. I think there should be a direct link with your place of origin, in my case with the Purepecha culture, to be able to reproduce but guard the ancestral knowledge as well. Thank you very much. Thank you for these three speakers for this roundtable. Thank you for your very rich, knowledgeable sharing that helps us look at how we can position ourselves from creating knowledge from the communities, from different contexts, giving value to traditional knowledge and cultural identity. I would like to give the word to our director, executive director, Teresa Zapeta. Teresa is a indigenous woman from Guatemala. She's Maya. For over 25 years, she's been defending women's rights. She has worked in the United Nations Development Fund and Women's UNIFEM and UN Women leading programs for indigenous women in Central American Mexico. She is the founder of several indigenous organizations and has a strong academic background in communication, public administration, and local development. In the future, she plans to write her family stories as a testimony of struggle and justice. She is currently our executive director of the International Indigenous Women's Forum, FIMI. Hello, everybody. I want to greet you, especially today, with all of you that are connected here in this
like to initially greet my elder sisters that is going with this initiative. I want to greet You see that I see her connected. And of course, I would like to greet to each one of the participants with a lot of commitment and initiative that we have arrived to this process of this collective formation process, how we call it. From FIMI, we believe that this space is to strengthen our knowledge collectively and to learn from each other. And that's the role of FIMI. I want to invite you to continue with that impulse that you have started, mainly because the virtual phase, is a little bit complicated. So if we don't pay attention, we get distracted. So we need to be connected in body and soul in each session so we can take advantage fully with all the experience that we will share. For us from PINI, the experience of investigating the intercultural research is really, really relevant, important, mainly because we're not going to have only one product, but with our process, we're transforming the ways of understanding. And not only as objects of study. So that's the first element that we're transforming. And the second element is, to generate our own data, our own content with our process based in the community. Surely, most of you in this process, you will need reference documents. You need to look for documents in internet, in the virtual places. So I invite you to look for the reference and books. We have to look for leadership writings that has a lot of knowledge about our process that could help us to generate our own data, to do service, whatever is necessary to generate our own information, our own data. For example, let me say about the public violence. How can you say the impact of this violence in the Indigenous woman? And we could find 1, 2, or 3 cases that is happening in the community. If I don't write, if I don't talk about it, no one else is going to know about it. So I invite you to do that, to look for information. This is our opportunity, is our responsibility to systematize and work with this information. And the third element in this research diploma, as our sister was saying, why are we investigating? At the end of the formation of we need to advocate. We need to find in this process, but not only in the diploma, but in all the process that FIMI does to carry out these elements, this information, these cases to other international mechanisms. We need to take this to the states, to the agencies, to the United Nations, to places where, in different places, etc. This knowledge, this learning that we're going to take and do here in this diploma, we need to share it. So we need to be together as FIMI, as mechanism, and we also need to establish alliances with your tutors, with your advisors, with your community leaders. I invite you to take advantage of this platform to get the information, to visit FIMI's website. You can find lots of information that our own sisters have shared. Thank you very much to the FIMI's team, the team that is with us today to make it possible, this process that we are having today, to have a collective participation and also individual participation. This is not for curricula, but to provide for the community our knowledge and our experience. If the organization is not active, the organization that proposed you is not active, please turn it on, put it active so we can work on this and take advantage of this process. Many greetings to each one of you. Have a good day, wherever you are. Thank you, Nadia. Thank you, Teresa. Richard, one of your words has been really important for us. It is really important for us to listen to you. You bring us near to what we live. So thank you very much. And I want to close this space to advance to another point. As you know, this is the 6th edition of Diploma. We have already done the 5th edition. We have partners and participants that were in this process. They are with us in this process. So they will tell us how was their experience and what they are doing right now. For this process, I would like to invite the participant to explain us what's about this diploma. As you can see in the screen, we'll be accompanied by 3 partners from the previous edition. So I'm going to ask them to participate. So we're going to go in this order. Each one of them will have 5 minutes to participate. And the first sister is Daisy. She's from Kenya, Africa. She's currently has official program. And also Minnie Mom is going to accompany us. She's from Asia. She will talk about her experience. How was her experience in doing intercultural research? And then there's our sister from Colombia. So the topic for right now is what were the experiences from that intercultural research? Go ahead, please, Daisy. Welcome.
Thank you so much. And good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone. I'm going to be very brief because my examination has just started. Apologies for that. So I'm an Indigenous girl from Pokot community that's in Kenya. And I'm glad and proud, and I thank FIMI because I was part of the 5th cohort of the intercultural research. And just to give a brief experience of how it was, this research was more of a deeply empowering experience for me, not just as a girl, but also, as a young woman who's always been deeply rooted in culture. And it really expanded my understanding of how research, more so when it comes to intercultural way, it's not just like, you're collecting information, but it's a tool for us Indigenous women, for like to create about visibility and transformations, not just to us, but also to other Indigenous women. So in this course, one thing that I learned is that intercultural research is not just about, gathering information, but it's also about creating that respectful space where diverse knowledge systems can coexist and speak to each other. Because in my class, in my cohort, there were several people with several topics. And, it was so nice hearing from everyone and getting to know, all these issues that we have, we share them across all Indigenous women. And this was especially very powerful and good for me because, I come from a community where, oral traditions, storytelling really play a practical and kind of political meaning. And, out of these, I really learned that, Indigenous communities, we have our right to define our realities. And we can contribute to policies from a place of, dignity and strength. And this one I can say because, one thing is out of the values we were taught and how to approach this research is, not just like the other researchers, because we have people who've done masters in other things, and when you go to do your research, there's a way people tend to approach, and you don't really get quite the good information. But out of the values that FIMI taught us on how to approach a community, how to go about, it really, really, really helped me as a person and also as an Indigenous girl, because I had to approach my community and the elders most specifically in a way that, they could understand. First thing is I had to identify with them, and the fact that, identifying with the community and speaking the language was one of the important things, which is one thing they really emphasized to us. And it was so easy to get to collect information. And another thing is, when we tend to tell our stories and Indigenous women from the community, it comes out very different other than, when other person just gets into the community and wants to speak on your behalf. Like for me, I was dwelling on the rights of Indigenous girls when it comes to education matters. There are people who've tried to do research like that in my community. And when you tend to go through their works, I was trying to read 2 papers that I read. They're not from my community. You find out that it's very different. Some of the issues they've tried to explain come out so differently. You don't really understand what these people are trying to say. But when it comes from us, when it is us who are going to sit down with the community, we tend to talk with them, you tend to understand all the issues that the girls are going through. It becomes out so clear, and it's really helped me to understand a lot of issues that I didn't even know exist in my community, yet I always say I come from the community. So I really thank FIMI for that opportunity, and I thank them because even now, I thank Indigenous Information Network because there's a program for girls. We're still doing that, and the issue of importance of girl child education has kept being very core, and we're starting to see the results, and we hope to see more and more results out of that. And just to congratulate those of you who are in the 6th cohort, we are here with you. And thank you, FIMI, because, with this program, you're really helping us air out issues that we could not even have other places to air. And lastly, when it comes to advocacy, one point it really helped me is I was able to get to interact with the county governments. In Kenya, we have the devolution. So we have national and county government. We had to talk with one of the education officers, that is the CEC for education. And it was easy because, I'm from the community. I'm telling her the factual things from the ground. And it was easy for us to come out. I was trying to propose some policies. And they said when they're going to come up with policies, they're going to call us. We sit at one table and tend to propose what should be done and what should be included. Thank you so much. And thank you so much. I beg to leave and join my exam.
We're going to continue with our dear sister Min Mon. Welcome.
Okay.
Mon, is it okay for you if I repeat the question?
Yes.
What were your experiences in the intercultural research for political advocacy?
Okay. Good morning and good evening to all my sisters from Latin America, Africa, and Asia. I'm so proud to be part of FIMI, and my name is Mimi Mon, and I'm from the Mon Indigenous community. And it is a great honor to be part of FIMI and to participate in graduations of Intercultural Research Diploma 2025. So to share my experience throughout my research I conducted last time. It is intercultural research. It is really valuable and helpful for the people who would like to conduct the research, like not only the data, to take it into actions in order to raise women's voice. So what I would like to say first, I would like to say thanks to FIMI for giving us and providing us the tools or the technique how to conduct the papers, the research, and how do we approach the community. Is this really something different from the normal research? What it means that intercultural research means it is a bit difficult for me, seeing like we have to really talk to the community. It is not just about like thank you. It's not just about collecting the data. We have to approach the community. We have to approach the women in order to let them share their experience. And based on my research, I conducted a paper on like a divorced mother who left with young children. So it's really something, a kind of sensitive story based on my community. Because in my community, people believe that in terms of like talking about domestic violence or GBV case or other gender issue is we should stay silent. We should not talk about it, or we should not address this kinds of issue. People believe this is something to be ashamed of. So that when I conducted my paper, it is a bit difficult to approach the women or the women who experience like that, because people are not there or hesitate because of their community judgment or their society judgment. They worry that they leave them to be hesitation to share openly. So when it comes to that, FIMI train us to how to approach the people, how to speak or talk to them. So I talk to my participant or the women I interview, the women carefully. I listen to her story with my heart, not just to get the data. So, which means this intercultural research means more than a data. Which means it is really a tool or a technique that we use to make the story, make the world heard, the women voiced, and make it into actions, to turn into action, not only just keep as the papers or as the research. So intercultural research means a lot. So to share my challenges or tension, I have faced quite lots of challenges in there in that time. Like first, I would like to mention, like as I mentioned earlier, due to some of the cultural norm or the religious belief in my society, is a bit difficult to talk about that. So this is one thing as tensions or challenges. Another one is the political situation inside the country that also lead the participants do not want to participate in the research or do not want to share their story. So when it's come to this, it is a bit difficult, but I can manage, seeing that FIMI already train or teacher by using intercultural research. It is really helpful in order to manage those kinds of problems. And when it comes to horizontal opportunity, like through this tension, many doors open because I use my research to hold the community discussion first with our like Mon in language. I make them speak. I make them feel like build trust on them first and talk to me freely without hesitation. I listen with my heart, not just listen and technique. So I can complete that. From to research to action, if we talk about political advocacy, we can be support like with the indigenous sister worldwide. So what I can do is that I can talk to after I conduct my paper, I can talk to FIMI, and I also can share it to the local NGOs or the community people, women leaders in my community. So it will make their voice heard and make the people in the community aware on the women issue, the marginalization or the discriminations that some women encounter in their life. So this helps them to feel more confident and tell them that they are not alone. We are together. Yeah. And so the research for me is like a tour to collective advocacy. What I mean is that it is not only to produce knowledge, but also we can change their condition in the future. I believe like this, and I'm sure the paper we conducted under FIMIs or by using intercultural research will make the world heard the women's story or a situation, what it should be addressed. So to the new participant of the Diploma program, I would like to encourage you to root your research with love, community, and responsibility. Do not afraid to reflect against something that is not reflect your value. So what I mean is that these are valid source of knowledge. It is not just a paper. And remember that we are together. You are not alone. And thank you so much to FIMI for letting me be in this important event. And finally, I would like to say congratulations to all the selected new participants in Intercultural Research Diploma 2025. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mimi Mon,
Thank you,
for so many
Mon, for that
such important words.
for this
To be able
intercultural
to
research.
do research not
It
only
is not just
intellectually,
scholar
also
process, but
from the
also
heart.
something that goes to our heart.
As you have said,
Thank you for
teaching us
sharing
from
with
your
us
experience how
from your
to
experience,
continue
how you lived in your process as a
this
woman,
research
Indigenous
with,
woman.
as Indigenous women.
Now we're going to let our sister from Colombia. So the question is, which are the experience that you lived in this intercultural research? Go ahead, my dear sister. Hi, good morning, everybody. It's an honor, a pleasure for me to be here in front of a powerful woman as you are, powerful woman from the world. I am talking from Guajira, Colombia. I'm a Guayu woman, indigenous Guayu from the territory of. I had the pleasure to participate in this marvelous process of the Intercultural Research Diploma, the 5th edition. So I'm going to share the experience from the other women from different territories to take it to another level where the investigation and all the process that we've done, that we've learned during the month that we've been we sharing together to rescue all the information that many times we see it as a common knowledge, but really it is a valuable knowledge, because this helps us to formulate new strategies to change the way of seeing the world. So this is a great impact in my life as an Indigenous woman, as a professional woman as well, because my scholar is, I am biologist. So what I have been taught in my whole career, how to do a research, they were scientific method, how you had to write when you collect information. So for me, it was a really good opportunity, finally, to write from the perspective of how the woman feel it, how the woman see it. So my grandmothers were really important in this process, and it was really valuable because I didn't feel like intimidated because I had to follow this scientific process, but I had to take into value these cultural values that own intercultural methodologies. I learned how to use it through my mom, my grandmother. So the tutors always told us, it's the practice that you do, from the dancing, from your thinking, worldview, the thing that comes from you. And there's where I learned and said, yes, we can learn from our own knowledge. So we established a dialogue. So as an Indigenous woman, I talked with my sisters. So we did it in a common way. But other people from outside the community didn't do it. So we implemented that kind of information, that kind of conducting a research. So in my community, why it means, so I visit my community, I talk with a person or with a collective of person, but I have to go and sleep with there in the community. When I go to the community, I have to let out my thinking as an Indigenous woman. So it's not that I just go and take notes, work in the papers, but it's a deeper contact related to the feeling of the people in the communities. Also the food, the sharing the food. To be able to sleep there in the community is really important for us. So that was a way of strengthening our link, our community. And also that was a chance to strengthen young women and girls. So to carry out that leadership voice to our new generation. So this diploma, that what has helped me to do. So how to apply it in my community, through my research about climate change, about the conceptualization of terms that were not from our mother tongue. So we had to talk and think about how to do that, how to collect information, how to construct or create a concept, a new concept, or understand this concept. So it was a really great experience. And besides this, it has helped me to continue working on this topic. Right now, we're talking advocacies about this kind of topics. So the topic that I was able to write some problems and topics that were leaving the community. So it was really good for me. So there's a reason why I read this. So that was with the objective of carrying out, the way and the issues, the problems that they are living in the communities. So the women from the communities are the heart of the document, are heart of the paper, and we need to share and strengthen our identity as an Indigenous woman, and also you as my sisters, and also that I hope that this could be of great advocacy in this topic that we're talking about. So the intercultural research has opened my way of thinking, my way of seeing the view. My worldview has broadened my worldview. So we can also help to mitigate or help to resolve these climate change topics and issues. So these are topics that we're working with. So this is not a work just for a group, but it's for all of us, for all the women. This is what it's going to give us strength, and I hope you enjoy the whole process during this diploma course, because I gained a lot of friends from the process of this intercultural research. So it was really beautiful for me. So when you see the results, you're going to see difficulties with the time. So we have some difficulties, but the biggest joy is the final result. Thank you very much. Greetings to each one of you.
Perdón, están haciendo el cambio de intérprete. Permíteme.
Ready.
Listo.
We're ready. We are ready. Yes, we are ready. Yes. Thank you for your patience for the technical. We are listening to Jenny Ling's words. As she commented how important this positive impact in our lives is, because not only does it teach us that a research should have a reason to be, but also at the same time to generate other ways of researching with the community, talking with them, and going beyond something that is so individual. Thank you for your words. Thank you for the words of our three panelists. They are ex-participants of the diploma course, and we want to tell the ones that are the new participants that are here that you can enjoy this path very much, as Jenny Lee mentioned. To close this part, I want to thank you to the three of you, and to continue with a different section that allows us to welcome our other colleague, who is very, very important for us. And I would like to present her. She's going to give us some final words to give closure to this first section. So please, we have her here already in screen Lucy. She is a woman from Kenya. She is Maasai. She is vice president of the International Indigenous Women's Forum, FIMI. She is an Indigenous activist with over 20 years of experience. She started as a journalist specializing in environment and development. She is co-founder of the Indigenous Women's Biodiversity Network and the president of the African Indigenous Women's Organization in East Africa. She also directs the Indigenous Information Network. She has been recognized with several awards for her work in defense of Indigenous peoples and women's rights. Welcome, Lucy.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much, all of you. And really want to thank FIMI. Even being there is one of them, but it's also very important to make sure that I thank you, and thank you, Teresa, our President Tarsila, who probably is out there in the different meetings, and all of you for organizing this. Nadia, thank you for taking a lot of good time in terms of putting pieces together and also calling the former cohorts and also trying to get experts from our different regions to speak today. I think it was very interesting. I sat there from the beginning and listened to all of them, and they gave very good advice and at the same time very good experiences. And to me, I think this is a very, very important process, is a very important study, and all of you, new students, old students, is really an opportunity. It's something that you should always treasure, having FIMI give this opportunity to our Indigenous women, because we are coming out really very strong and coming out with our clear stories, our stories as Buba had talked about, having our own stories, telling our own stories is very, very important. I just came back from a community, and indeed one of the issues the women were complaining, they were saying, we want to be the ones to tell our traditions, our stories about our traditions and cultures. So we need to learn more, especially for the young women who are growing up and who have not been able to know the past, and they were urging the older women to make sure that they can work with them so that they can understand, and then they can also try to tell it to their children, because they say it's never the same. It will never be the same. Getting to speak about, for example, beads from our country, the kind of dressing, not only for Africa, but for Asia and also in Latin America. You know, we all share that same kind of culture of having our beads, our beauty, our clothes, and so on. It can never be the same if it's explained by someone else. So it's really very important. And for you new students, as I also want just to add a little bit of advice for you, is that you have to create a culture of reading, of learning more, as Teresa had already explained, and even the others. Make sure you read a bit more issues. If you want to select about traditional foods or traditional something, whatever you want to write on, it's really very important to research on it and to look at it in different perspective, so that by the time you come and put it in your perspective as a researcher, you will have put some content where many people and others who will be reading it can also be satisfied and learn much from you. We have like in the Convention on Biological Diversity, climate change, we have also in the FAO and other organizations who have written quite a number of documentations on issues of our cultures, our traditions, our way of life, and we really want to have it ourselves to be the ones who will be telling that particular story. And it's really very important that we also make sure that we keep on every other word that we can consult with others. We can be able to also look at the different aspects of our elders who are already there, because we really need to have our stories visible. We need to strengthen this global impact of the ancestral knowledge for the ones. Science is looking for it now. So if it's looking for it, you also must come up with very clear information. You must come up with very very important information that will help us move forward. And remember also that some of our traditional communities and even some elders in the community may not want to give out every information, as already what Buba had talked about, because of misappropriation, because of really non-recognition of our indigenous communities. So you also have to be very careful with that, and you have to respect their rights also, because as much we talk about respect the rights of indigenous people, we also, as indigenous peoples ourselves, indigenous women and youth and others, we also must respect the other, our own community, our own elders. When they don't want this passed out or shared out, please don't. Let's make sure that we keep it also as much as they want. And then we can be able to convince them if it's necessary, but in a way that we may avoid a question of misappropriation and so on. So I think that's what I really wanted to say, that let's take it very serious. Let's come up with the very important reports, the outcomes, and let's have it out there with really very concrete writing, very concrete, compilation, and see even how it can be used in higher, education and higher learning institutions, so that they can also learn. And always go back to the community and verify. Make sure you verify what you write, and also be able to verify with others. So I want to thank everyone else very much. I want to wish you all, new students, you can see you are young and ready to learn and ready to push forward. We want to wish you all the best, and really be a good model, be also mentors to the younger ones who are behind you there, who are at the lower level there, so that you prepare them for the next cohort that is coming after you. Thank you so much, and really want to thank everyone and say thank you, and hope everything goes successfully. Thank you, Nadia. Thank you, everyone.
Gracias.
Lucy. Thank you very much, Lucy, and thank you for all of you that are here with us today. This is, as I said, a very long, it's been a few months. It's a collective work. It's a teamwork, and of course, by having your leadership, your light, Tere, Lucy, you help us, you illuminate us, and you help us continue on to reach our goal with success. For us, again, we want to thank you. This is the first part of the agenda. We're closing now. We're going to stay with the participants to look at more technical things, to go into the agenda, and we're going to have some dynamics to be able to break the ice. And thank you again, Lucy and Mimo Mbalki. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you and good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nadia.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Maybe you spoke to us, Nadia, but we couldn't hear you. Did you get the invitation? They can hear us, right? You can hear us, right? Yes, I'm asking you to be panelists so you can participate in the room.
Listo. Vayan poniendo
Okay,
quizás en el
ready.
mensaje para las que ya están en esta sala,
If you can
repórtense
have
para
the
ir
write a
viendo
message so
quiénes están.
those of you that are in this room now,
Un
so we can
mensajito
see
pongan.
who's there. Just write a little message, please. Mimon has not received the invitation. Maybe here we can give the instructions that they must accept. Mimai, Rocio, they're still as assistants. They're not as in the room yet. There's, I think that all of us that are here, we got the invitation, and that's why we're here. But there's still some that are as assistants. There's 11 assistants and then 11 panelists. There's 11 panelists, and then there's 11 as assistants. So it's the same number, or it's different people? We have that question. There's only there's a few missing. You have to accept. I'm going to invite them again. There's still you will receive a message and they have to accept. They can hear us, correct? You can hear us? Yes. Marta, could you please accept to go into the other room? We have Mari, Rocio, Halima, Ronnie. Well, it should include all the assistants. I'm just going down the list. No, we're going to accept everybody into the room, please. Lorena left. I think so. If you can please open your cameras so we can get to know each other. Some of you already know each other. Maybe some of us are in our pajamas. Some of you are waking up. Some of you are in the office. But because we have different times globally. but we'd like to get to know you. If you can please open your camera. I'm going to open mine as well. And you'll see that you're going to see me from above because my camera's in a weird angle. But let's see. I'm going to open my camera so we can see each other. It seemed to be seeing myself from above because my camera's you can see me from downward up, but it's in my camera's underneath. I'm sorry. So I'm going to send a message to Susana if she can accept us, please. Because fortunately, she wrote me back. Okay, great. She was having some trouble. I'll send her a message. Marta Susana, she's trying to go in. Javier, by changing rooms, the interpretation doesn't change, right? Please make sure you choose your interpreting channel to make sure you get the interpretation.
En
You
inglés,
can
por
hear
favor,
us,
si me
right?
pueden preguntar si están escuchando.
Can you confirm you're listening? If you can write something or lift your thumb or whatever. Is the interpretation going well in English? Please, any technical mistake, please tell us so we can have the information. We're doing everything possible to make sure that we can communicate well, beautifully, and avoid these types of technical mistakes. And sometimes we're looking at the screen and we don't realize, but make sure that you can tell us if there's something mistake or you don't hear it. Please let us know. We want to give you our apologies. There was a little technical detail where there was interpretation not going for a while, but please interrupt. Please let us know so we can make sure that everything that you can listen and understand everything. Susana, we're missing Susana, please.
Mensajes.
Okay, let me look at the messages. Okay, so please make sure there's a little world underneath, and you can choose the interpretation, whether for Spanish or for English, so you can listen correctly. Yes, we're seeing that all is well for English. Susana, Javier sent you a invitation. Please accept so you can be a panelist and go into the room. Please accept. Every time we invite her, for example, Ronnie rejected the invitation, you must accept. I've activated their microphone if they want to talk to us. Susan. Only Ronnie is missing. Can you hear us, Ronnie? Your microphone is activated. Could you please accept panelist? You should have gotten an invitation, or do you have any trouble? Okay, great. We're ready. Everybody's here. Okay, so we're going to activate your screen. I'd like to see you. We're going to take a picture of all the participants. Let me see how I can. I think Javier can take the picture, right? I believe there's a way. Yes, I can take the picture. If you could please take a picture. We want to give face to you, each one of your names. We've only been communicating through email, but we want to see your faces and give the face to the names. We want a picture for memory's sake. We're going to have a picture from the beginning and then one at the end of the process. Let's see who's missing. I can see everybody now. Romy, could you please activate your camera? Thank you very much. Okay, please let us know when you're ready to be able to smile. If everybody's ready, okay. I think we're ready. Please say mezcal or whiskey or wine or tequila or whatever you like. Okay, ready. Thank you very much, Javier. Could you authorize us to share this in our social network for FIMI? Okay, so we have it's already 9:20. We're behind in our schedule. We had some activities planned, but unfortunately, I don't think we're not going to be able to do all of them today. But the idea of this session was to be able to get to know each other, get to see each other. We want to have some activities so that you can feel welcome and into the group and comfortable. If you can talk, we can talk about any questions you have. This is going to be a 6-month process. So anything, any situation, any question, any problem, anything that you have regarding the diploma course, please let us know with no problem. Please, we know that the schedule difference, the time difference is quite a challenge, especially for those of you in Asia. So we know that your commitment is strong. By seeing you here now, we know it's very late for you. We are going to start, Liliana, if you want, or Samai is going to start. I can't see her. Oh, there she is. I'm sorry. Here we go. Yes, hello. Okay, colleagues, to start, we're going to, before we start, I just want to tell you that we're missing 2 people today. Today, one of her is stuck in traffic and the other one yesterday. It's been very, very, we've had a lot of work yesterday. And yesterday, our last participant received her letter. So, in the case of Nagumi, who wrote immediately, it was like that. We had events that were parallel in different spaces. So it's been a lot of work, this process. So we want to ask for your forgiveness to have a very last minute invitation. We've done everything possible to have you here. We have 2 people missing, one from Africa and one from Asia. And but yes, welcome everybody. So yes, now we can start tonight. Okay, perfect. Well, thank you. Welcome, Nagumi, and welcome everybody. We are starting as a 6th edition of this diploma course. This is a space to get to know each other. So I'd like to introduce a very short exercise, but also I would like your support so that we can do it right. It's a challenge because we are online. And first of all, if we have our cameras open, it helps us to look at be able to see each other and know if the other person is laughing or is worried or angry, or this helps us very much to give meaning to what we're going to do. One of the dynamics that we'd like to explain and that we're going to do is 3 words on me. I'd like to invite you to think. What are 3 words that define me as Mari, as Rocio? What are these 3 words that define me that in this first presentation where we're going to get to know each other, what are 3 words that I can define myself with? So I'd like you to be creative. It's not the same thing to say, I'm kind, than to say something much deeper, because I know all of us are kind. We're all very honest. We're all very respectful. I know all of this. We're very good students, and that's why we're here. We like to research, but something deeper, let's say. So let's think what can help us to, so that what Rosia tells us is going to stick in our memory, or what Habiba says, it's going to stay in Megumi's memory. So let's be a little creative. What could this word be that might define me? I don't know, maybe for someone is addicted to coffee. You can't live without coffee. Maybe, or maybe you're not addicted, but maybe this is your fellow in life, your partner in life. Something that can help us define ourselves specially. So these 3 words, is anybody ready? Could you raise your hand? We know how to raise our hand here, right? You can just raise your hand and we can participate. If not, raise your hand and Liliana can help me check that we don't. Okay, here we go. I have my list of participants. I'm sorry. Here we go. Maybe you write a message. We'll give you a few seconds to think about this, but whoever's ready, please raise your hand. Who's going to be the brave one who will start participating? And if not, I will assign you. Okay, Rocio, she's ready. And I was going to give you more time, and I see you're very creative, but so welcome. Let's go with Rocio. 3 words. How you are going to present yourself with the other colleagues, with the other fellow here. She's speaking in her native language. My name, hello everybody, with my maternal language, with the permission of your hearts and faces. I want to thank FIMI for this. For me, is very important to be here, and I've always been very practical. This is the first time I have the opportunity to participate in this kind of project, and I know there's lots of people that are going to help me. Who is Rocio? I'm going to explain this in 3 years. Rocio Rivero is a mother of 2 little ones, Letzi and Caretzi, and Gilberto, and she is the wife of Gilberto Alcantara. I'm a resilient woman. I do not stay put. I was a representative in my community. And something that I like very much is to enjoy family at home. I very much like to be living in nature. I love having animals at home. I have lambs and chickens, and not only are they little animals, they are part of my family. Rocio, I'm very excited to be with you today. I hope to share experiences and to learn a lot from you. Okay, thank you, Rocio. That's beautiful. Getting to know a little bit from you. We're going to continue with Sabato. Please tell us. How do you define?
Hello, my name is Sabantho. I would consider myself a little bit of an underdog. I always end up in places I aspire. I may not be fit for those places, but alas, there's always something that I can bring. Whether it's art, it's balance, or it's just the truth from Caribbean communities. I'm also a young mother, currently living in Sweden, far away from home, very a strange place to be in. But yeah, I just keep trucking on. So that's a little bit about me. And I'm so honored to be here.
Thank you, Sabato. We're going to continue with Mari. Welcome, Mari. Good morning, good afternoon, good night, my dear my sisters. First of all, I'd like to thank FIMI for this opportunity that you're giving me to be in this project. I'm very grateful.
Gracias. Gracias. Thank you. Okay. Okay. So, Mary defines herself as a perseverant woman. She does hard work. She likes livestock working, work with cows and in the field. She's very patient. So she always gets what she wants with the time to serve the family, to serve the community, and to work with the movement like woman movement, social movements, and that's Mary. Thank you, Mary. Now we're going to go with Usaida. Usaida, welcome. Usaida, can you hear? Okay. My name is Usaida Pineda. I'm a counselor of the Woman Hindu. So I thank you very much for doing this, giving me this opportunity. I'm very happy to be here with you because this is a space where we encounter with people, with our sisters. I define myself as a woman that likes to work with other women, with my sisters, and I also believe to be here, it's a great motivation, and it is really, really important to live together and share our motherland. Mother Earth and to talk about political advocacy. So that's what I love the most. Thank you very much. Thank you, Zuleida, for giving us these three aspects of yourself. I don't have hands raised. Who's next? Okay.
Megumi?
Okay. Yes. Yes, thank you. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Megumi Kamiya. I'm from Ryukyu, Okinawa, Japan. And thank you very much for this opportunity. I received the notification of my participate at this program just yesterday, and I'm truly honored to be here today. And I sincerely looking forward to running with you over the next 6 months. Thank you very much.
Hi, everyone. Good night from Ambon, Indonesia, Maluku. I'm Marta from Maluku, and thank you for FIMI for giving me this opportunity. I'm an Indigenous woman, work in the grassroots, and I hope this 6 months will give us all many things and the new spirit. And hi, Liliana. Long to see. We meet at the leadership training in the 2016. Okay, thank you for having me.
I hope I'm happy. I'm from Mexico and I like to work a lot. So ready. That's me.
Muy bien, gracias Liliana.
Okay, thank you, Liliana.
¿Con quién más?
Who else?
Vamos a dar paso a Natosim.
We're going to give the chance to
Natosim.
Natosim. We're going to give the chance to Natosim.
Había escrito en el chat. Natosim dice.
Natosim has written in the chat. Nato, are you there? Open up your microphone.
Si no, podemos
If not,
dar paso a Halima mientras.
The chance to Halima.
Is it okay now?
Ok, perdón. Natomi. Okay. Natosim, perdón. Discúlpame que haya
I'm sorry, Nato. I apologize. You go ahead.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm Natosim Edward Liza from Tanzania. I'm happy to be here to learn from my fellow women and young girls. Thank you so much, FIMI, for giving me this opportunity to participate in the Intercultural Diploma research and to just share what really defined me. I am a kind and passionate person, and also I'm very patient. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sister. Now we're going with Halima.
Hi everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are. My name is Halima Abdikadir from Kenya, from the Samburu and the Somali community. I am so happy to be here and I'm so glad to be chosen by FIMI to be part of this program. I can't thank you guys. I don't know how to express my gratitude to all of you. If I can say words that define me, Halima is an Arabic name that means gentle and fortunate. I think that's how I can define my name. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. That's interesting what Halima has shared with us. Now we're going the chance to Lamlaching Choudhury.
Hello everyone, Indigenous greetings from Bangladesh. This is Lamrajing Choudhury Rani. I belong to the Marma Indigenous community of Bangladesh. I work with the Kaping Foundation, the only human rights organizations for the IPs of Bangladesh, and also I'm the member of Bangladesh Indigenous Women Network, from which I'm representing here. So I really express my gratitude to FIMI for giving me the opportunity for this 6 months diplomacy, and I really look forward to this program. Thank you very much.
Now we're going to give the chance to
Hello, everyone.
I'm sorry, Gabi, but just give me a chance. So if you could speak a little bit slower because we want the interpreters to give us the interpretation.
Hello, everyone. I am Habiba Gambo from Cameroon. I belong to the Mbororo Indigenous Pastoralist community, and I'm happy to be here with you all. I equally want to thank FIMI for granting me this opportunity. If I can use 3 words to define myself, they are going to be hope, growth, and resilience. Thank you very much, and I hope to be here and learn as much as I can from you all.
Now we're going with Omo Diko.
Hello everyone, my name is Umujiko from Mali. I'm belonging to Fulani community, so I'm very happy to be chosen by FIMI for this opportunity. Thank you once more. So a 3 word to define myself will be I'm courageous, ambitious, and also active in everything that I'm doing. Thank you.
Somebody else that are pending with? Is somebody else pending? If not, I'm going to talk about me. 3 words that defines me. I like poems and water. I like poems, water, and something else. I like very much to write poems. I like to plant trees and flowers. I feel that way of take away my stress is to drink water. Go to the water, go to a lagoon, and it makes me feel really good. Thank you very much for letting me be here with you. Now, Susana from Argentina. Natosim Leze wants to repeat again. Yes, very good. Good morning. I'm from Argentina. I like my handcraft work. I heard some sisters that they were talking about handcraft works. So I like to work with handcrafts, also with flowers and plants. Thank you very much for the participation. I was listening to some sisters. So this is the year of the woman. So let's be next sisters. I belong to the Mokobi people. My mom is a Mokobi, and I'm proud to be her daughter. The brother. So thank you very much. Thank you very much, and for this opportunity. This is a really good tool to share with our sisters. Thank you very much. Meapche means thank you very much. So in Quechua, it means thank you as well. So each one of us have our own language, right? Very good. Maybe Natosim. Natosim wanted to introduce himself once again, one more time. So can you tell us, introduce yourself in this brief space? Natosim Laser. So are you there, Natosim? If we're pronouncing in a different way your name, please tell us how's the correct way of pronouncing your name. In this space, we also have Minimum. Would you like to introduce yourself to this group? So I had to go out a little bit. If you hear some noises, it's because I was out, but I'm back. I'm addicted to reading. I'm really happy to share with you and to know you. Yeah, that's it. Thank you very much, Minerva. She's going to be one of our tutors. So she has joined our presentation. Thank you, Minerva. Is there someone who would like to introduce herself? Perfect. So we're closing here this dynamic. We tried the introduction to be close. So thank you very much for your participation. So now Liliana will be sharing with us about some documents that she wants to talk about. So thank you very much. Okay, so I apologize for the noise that you heard. Is that this is Mexico, so I had to go out a little bit, but I'm back. So
We're going to have various sessions. You saw the modals. We're going to have an introduction, how to use the platform. You're going to see that there's a platform where all the information is going to go in. This is going to be further ahead. You must be very paying attention to about when the sessions are, the times, to be able to be there. There are many suggestions I have to be able to have a quality, a solid training, we recommend that you connect from a computer, because then you can open your documents, respond, and use all the different resources. We know it's a big challenge, a very big challenge, but it is important to give specific special time for this training. It's not only a complimentary session of what we're doing live, it does require specific times, specific quality time, to please give yourself this opportunity to train, to be trained well, to be concentrated in this uh, in this process, because it's very easy to get distracted with all the activities. And this is one of the challenges we have in these online trainings. And of course, connectivity is a challenge as well when there's things that are outside of our hands, if there's a storm or the light goes out or whatever. But please think of it as of yourselves as people with a right to having your space for this training, for educating yourself. And so this is one of the main advice I want to give you. This was something that I learned as well. I was doing many things at the same time. I was doing the classes, but I was recording, but I was doing, and then I was not retaining anything. I was not paying sufficient attention to classes. So this is one of the recommendations, but primarily an invitation to make yourselves feel that you have a right to the proper training, to quality education. And this depends a lot on how you connect, what you're going to be able to keep from this. We have something that is very beautiful. We're going to do two things. One is you're going to get to know your teachers. I'm going to ask Javier to show the video. And also you're going to see who is going to be part of this training, tutors. And they're going to present themselves, but I want you to have an idea of who is going to be part of this voyage. But also we're going to have a little exposition of the dynamics we're going to follow. So please, if we can have the video, I'm going to thank you very much.
As we begin this shared journey, we are honored to introduce the women and men who will accompany this diploma program with their experience, commitment, and wisdom. Facilitators, tutors, and interpreters from diverse territories and backgrounds who come together to strengthen intercultural education with a focus on rights, gender, and belonging. Rufina Roman, facilitator, an Indigenous Uitota woman, environmental technologist, and agribusiness student. With over 28 years of experience, she has defended Indigenous territorial, cultural, and environmental rights in Colombia. Political advisor and researcher in food systems, she has led advocacy work within ONIC, OPIAC, and the National Commission of Indigenous. Violeta Sanchez, facilitator. A social communicator with 15 years of experience, Violeta has led projects and campaigns focused on youth, Indigenous peoples, and environmental rights. She has worked with IUCN, Amnesty International, and Land is Left, applying agile methodologies in rights-based communication in intercultural contexts. Carolina Brooks, facilitator, storyteller, editor, and professor from Argentina. She holds a master's in creative writing and a degree in literature. For over 20 years, she has taught in and worked with FIMI and the Fond communities. Her book on ultras won an award from the National Library, Balkisu Buba, tutor, Mbororo Fulani, woman from Cameroon, founder of IPSD and African representative to the Green Climate Fund Advisory Group. Experience in climate change, women's empowerment, and land rights, she has represented Africa in global spaces. She holds a master's in sustainable development called Diploma. Maxwell Zamora Fenley, interpreter, university professor, systems engineer, and trilingual speaker, Spanish, Mestizo, English, with over 14 years of experience professionals in Nicaragua's Caribbean coast. He coordinated academic programs at NICU and has worked as an interpreter for Workington, Huanca, and the Moravian Church. Fabio Viquez, facilitator, communicator, and
Perdón,
strategist who uses
Didier,
technology to drive social and environmental impact.
creo que no se
He has
escucha
led
bien el
projects in
audio.
over
¿Podría
20
empezar?
countries with IUCN, Ramsar, and GIZ. Today, he advises Indigenous organizations in Latin America through Burness Communications, combining global advocacy with grassroots activism. Joanna M. Richardson, facilitator, a plain language expert. Originally from the UK, she has lived in Argentina since 1985. She has trained legal professionals in clear English communication and led international networks such as PLAIN and Clarity International. She writes a weekly column in the Buenos Aires Times. Lorena Lopez Mejia, facilitator, tutor. Amaya Caiche woman, researcher, consultant, and defender of Buen Vivir. With over 25 years of experience and 2 master's degrees, she leads training and public policy processes rooted in ancestral knowledge. She teaches in FIMI's Intercultural Research Diploma and consults for the PIN project with Katie. Livia Olvera Snyder, interpreter. A social psychologist with a master's in integral psychology, Livia brings over 25 years of experience in group facilitation, human rights, and community health. She has trained facilitators and worked on public policy advocacy. She currently serves as a professional interpreter in educational and dialogue spaces. Mimi Mon, tutor. Passionate about empowering youth, she works with communities and students in higher education. With over 5 years of experience teaching English and revising school curricula, she is also skilled in e-learning and virtual environments, promoting inclusive and continuous learning. Minerva Colin Miranda, facilitator. A historian from UNAM and trained in library science, she is currently studying computer systems. She has worked as a teacher, librarian, and instructional designer at institutions like FIMI, UNAM, and various education ministries. She is part of Somos Palabra, promoting reading among children and women. Bina Lakshmi, Bina Nepram, facilitator. An award-winning expert and advocate for gender justice and women-led disarmament in Manipur, India. As an IIESRF Fellow at Connecticut College, she taught women, war, and peace, and gave talks on environmental justice and Indigenous women. Her research focuses on gender, conflict, and democracy, with a deep commitment to peace and human rights. Their knowledge and leadership will guide this learning journey. We warmly welcome each of them and thank them for being part of this collective space.
Sorry, this is the video so that you can get to know your facilitators
Que también son compañeras
that are also
de comunidades
colleagues, fellows from communities, researchers from Indigenous communities. Some of them have been supporting the diploma course. They are going to walk with us in this training very quickly because the time is almost done. I want to talk to you what we expect from this diploma course. So there is you presented a project and it's being revised and it's going to be in revision during this whole process. So if you can help me project, Javier, please, in the second part on the rules, the calendar, the work calendar for the project. One of the things that we realized is that it's important for us to systematically and frequently give you feedback. We have different profiles. Some people have a lot of experience in research or in academics. Some of you are more related into political incidents, to groundwork with political work, and so there's a great diversity, and this is what this is all about. The group is so diverse that from here we can understand And truly, we have the possibility to have a global vision of what's happening in the life of Indigenous women globally around the world. So the idea here is that if you review your calendar, you will see, you'll realize that we have we have the calendar that will, let me project it. Let's see, I think we have a little bit of trouble here. Let's see if I can share my screen here. Okay, here we go. Great. We're going to give you this on the platform where you will be reviewing everything, reading these documents, both in English and in Spanish. Here, Halima Abdi has your hand up. Do you want to say something? Or is it from before? Hi, Halima. Do you have something to say? Okay, I think not. Okay, let's continue. Okay, if you please let me know if you want to say something. Okay, so you can see my screen, correct? Here, what we need is to have this. We're going to walk with you in this systematic way throughout the training, so we can. Can you see my screen? Yes, we can see it. Okay, great. So I'm concerned that I have so many screens open. So here we have the first modal, has to do with spirituality. You're going to see the objective precisely is to have this internal reflection on cosmovision, spirituality, and the importance for the indigenous communities and for how important it is for the generation of knowledge comes through this dialogue of our emotions, of our feelings, and how we see the world from our perspectives as indigenous communities and from our cosmovisions. So this is the first modal. Then from there, this is gonna end on the May 13th. Afterwards, you're gonna have three days. So on the 16th of May, you can present the first advance, and you should have incorporated some of these new learnings into the project so it can be complemented and introduce what you're reading into your proposal. Because remember, we're building a advocacy project where we're incorporating multiculturalness, gender from intersectionality. So it becomes a more solid project. So on Friday, after we go into all these themes, you'll be able to strengthen and put into your proposal, your indigenous proposal, some of this knowledge. So you're going to present it to us, but also to your tutors, because you're each going to have a tutor, and we're going to explain this a little further ahead, but so we can get introduced into it and you can have a general panoramic. So then we're going into the intercultural methodologies of research. This is going to be longer. It's going to be about a month and a half. Once we're done with this process, you will work with your tutors, but on June 30th, we expect that there's over 80% of the research put in of the work done. So this is the methodology, the data collection, and this is the most important part for your research. So we want you that on the 30th of June, you give this work advanced to your tutors, but also to us. internally, you're going to coordinate with your tutors and how you're going to be sending your advances. But for the 30th of June, we want you to have your first draft. Then we're going into SEDAW and the 39th recommendation referring to women and children, Indigenous women and children, and this ends on the 15th of July. Here, we'd like you to integrate the gender perspective and the arguments and justification, particularly those that are working in the topic against violence against women. So here we hope you can incorporate human rights and make this proposal more solid. And as I said, you're going to build this along with your tutors during the different weeks. So as Lucy was saying, you have to review, you have to read, because there's many resources that are complementary. But if you as well can look into other readings, this will be great. Fourth, we're going to go into the research for public advocacy or public political incidents. It's going to end on the 25th of July, but then on Monday, the 27th, we expect you to have incorporated these topics into your research and how you're going to advocate for an agenda. But so you have to remember that the it's not so much academic. This kind of work is research, that this research should help us to support the changes in public and political agendas in our local environment, but also with the authorities locally, nationally, internationally, in your state or whatever. But so as you remember this question, how does my research help my community? So this is where you're gonna find meaning for this. So here, I'm wrong. This is 100%. Here was the 80%, 90% in SEDAW. So 80%, 90%, 100%. I'm gonna correct this. So why does this have to be the final presentation? Because then we're going to present the projection. You're going to present with everybody your work.
So you have to be ending in the final word. There's something really important that you take into consideration. If you see in the calling, we were considering a support for implementation of your project. We want the project to be a solid project methodologically in the implementing of your project. So feel accompanied. Feel free to ask to your tutors, because you will have one tutor for each region. Feel free to ask your tutor, and also read and look for other tools if you feel like you need to get information from other tools. So in a general way, this is an explanation of how the process is going to be. The information will be on Moodle, so you will get the information from there. So I'm finishing with this, and I'd also like to say Samai will help us to read the rules of how to work together, how to take this process, carry out this process together. What's going to be the mechanism? What's going to be the work climate, the work tone? So one of the principles that if we're not happy in the revolution, we can't do a revolution. So we have to follow the rules of truth and confidence. So with that, we're finishing. Samai, We're finishing with that. We're finishing this session for today. Go ahead, Samai. We'll finish with the rules. I don't know if Samai's are on there. Okay. Yes, sisters. We are apologizing. We ran out of time. Just to close this opening session, Yanni also explained the rules. We believe that it's really important that in each one of the spaces we're promoting. I don't know if you're hearing good. I feel some kind of interference, but I don't know if you can hear me good. Can you hear me? Okay. Somebody has opened her microphone. If you could close your microphone, mute your microphone. So, can you hear me good now? I hope not to have interference. Perfect. I want to share with you the rules of coexisting. So if you go to the second slide, just because we're running out of time, we're going to skip the first one. Then we go to the second slide. Yeah, right there. As you know, the diploma is looking to generate respect to the diverse cultures, to respect the diverse experiences, to learn how to listen to each other, to learn from each other. We have a lot of riches in these spaces. So we are in a global space from different continents. And also we'd like the communication to be ethical. And we also need to work on the punctuality, commitment, and also attendance. One of your commitments from you is that you need, when you applied to this calling, when you applied for this calling, you had to commit yourself to be punctual and also to attend all the sessions. So we want your support to have a participative sessions and also solidarity during the sessions. To be open to learn much more from the different sessions that we'll have, how to use the platform, and some other things that you will learn along the way. To respect very much the knowledge and also the books and rights of the books, copyrights. We are guardians of the knowledge of our grandparents and grandmothers. So we need to give citation to our researchers. We need to write down the name of the elderlies that are providing us the information. So that's it. Thank you very much, Liliana. So I think we're finishing with this presentation. The documents that will be presented here, you will have the version in English and also in Spanish, and they will be on your platform on Moodle. We are very thankful for your participation, and we apologize because we ran out of time and we extended a little bit from the program time. So we can close the session. Thank you very much, Javier, for your help. And we send really warm greetings and strong hugs to each one of you. Thank you for your participation. We wish you the best in this diploma in the 6th edition. Ciao, ciao. See you later.